good evening, one and all, and welcome to yet another evening of Sim Racing. My name is Matthew Chuggy Churgwin, and joining me for round 14 of the GPVWC Formula Challenge, I have Mr. Philip Morby. Say hello, sir.
Evening all. Looks like to be another beautiful evening of racing tonight.
It is indeed, and we come to you this evening for the very first time for Formula Challenge, and in fact, well, for the first time for GPVWC from the Circuit of the Americas. Lovely new racetrack here, built in Austin, Texas. Only built a mere 4 years ago. It's a wonderful course which combines a, well, very technical section borrowing some of the world's best corners from various racetracks, a very fast section in Sector 2, as well as a very technical and hard on the tyre final sector to really have a course which is going to test our drivers in all regards: setup, technical ability, and of course you've got to make sure that your car's working as well, of course. It's nice and hot today. It's a good 28 degrees ambient, and the track is well into the mid-30s as far as temperature goes, so we could see some tyre issues as the race rolls on, but we have two 14-lap races for you tonight around this wonderful 5.5-kilometre race circuit. And with 3 rounds to go, it could very well be one driver's destiny to win the championship. Petter Burlak has been absolutely rampant in recent rounds, and he could seal it tonight if he gets the points he so desperately needs. So no talk of watches or phones here. We're all going to be all about the racing as we're in our final 6 minutes of qualification for our racing tonight. Of course, for those of you who are not aware, we have qualification, first race, then based off the results of our second race, or our first race, we have a reverse grid second race, and with everything to play for, it could be an absolutely fascinating one. So Phil, what are your thoughts this evening as our drivers are, well, continuing to put in some qualification times?
I really like Austin. Austin's actually one of my favourite tracks that's on the calendar. So mixing in kind of the best bits of other tracks. You see Peter Burlak go around what is kind of the opposite of Turn 8 Istanbul. A shame to see Istanbul not on the calendar, but we've got this wonderful corner kind of in memory in Austin. So he's just going around the final corner to set a time. He's currently second behind Tim Hanainen, but he's just done a brilliant lap to go 4 tenths quicker.
Yes, indeed. As Petter has done many, many times, he jumped onto the practice server just before we went into official qualification here, and he absolutely blitzed the best times by almost 8 tenths of a second. So evidently he's got his car working quite nicely, ready for tonight, and all he needs is 27 points to wrap up the title with 6 races to go. So he's got it in his hands. He just has to finally complete it. And as you were saying, this racetrack has a little bit of it all. I must admit, compared to some of the amazing tracks that we've been to in recent rounds, like Monza and Spa in particular, you know, they've been around for a long time. They have their own unique charm and character. Circuit of the Americas for me, it's not really got on my good books yet. It's got some interesting corners. It's got some interesting sections which our drivers will have to navigate. Hopefully tonight it will put a nice stamp on my heart as one of my favourite tracks that we come to at GPVWC. And mentioning that, if you're at all interested in joining in and having a go in Formula Challenge or Open Series, which is the open competition, in fact they're racing now, we'll bring you the results of that in a moment, all you have to do is head over to gpvwc.com, sign up to the website and the forum, and you can get started on your own sim racing career. But for now, if you want to actually get involved with the broadcast, we are keeping an eye on the Twitters this evening. Feel free to tweet in your thoughts, opinions or questions to @GPVWC Live using the hashtag GPVWC, and we'll hopefully get an opportunity to read some of those out. But as we saw at Monza, it was quite a, well, breathless 2 races, and I'm hoping we'll have the same here. So Phil, obviously we've got our drivers on our laps. Is there anyone you'd like to follow round and take us around this wonderful 5.5-kilometre circuit?
So I see Juha Tuonainen is currently doing the final corners. I think we'll probably pick him. He's currently in 7th place, just doing the second to last corner, and hopefully, oh no, he's going to the pits. It's going to be one of those evenings again.
It is indeed, where we pick everyone who decides to pit in.
Oh, here we go. Lewis McGlade. Lewis McGlade currently in 6th place. We'll follow him around and see how he does. So, right, we are now on the pit straight. An interesting long straight with a massive uphill climb towards turn 1. Notice how it opens up nicely on entry. So it's going to be some interesting lines going through this first lap. Look how wide it is. It's a brilliant wide pit. So he's gone a little bit wide. Okay, he's obviously on his in lap, but we'll still follow him in, see how he does. So we've then got, well, I mean, about 5 corners. I don't think he's obviously definitely getting out the way. Not the best person to pick to watch so far.
I may suggest following our current 3rd place Tim Heinemann, who's on his out lap, but he certainly is happy.
Oh, yeah, okay. So, yeah, he's definitely on it, Tim Heinemann. So, as we're going through turn 3, 4, and 5, like I said, a very technical bit. Oh, no, that was actually 7, 8, 9. As we're going a little kink into 10. And we're going again a long straight. This is the definite overtaking. Again, the corner opens out into this very tight hairpin 11. And then we were on one of the longest straights in Formula 1. I think the last time it was one of the third longest back straights in Formula 1. You know, this is where your low downforce setup is really going to help you here, because you know there's a lot of overtaking. Again, into a very heavy braking zone of turn 12 we come up to now. Doesn't widen too much the circuit here. A lot of runoff though. One of the people will be making use of that. We've then got the two right kinks of 13 and 14, which pretty much kind of even themselves out. There's no real turning against, like a wonderful line. We'll then hang right for turn 15, left-hander. Again, it's a double kind of turn, but it's a late apex, but short straight, and this is the turn 8 Istanbul, except the wrong way and uphill rather than downhill. That's 16, 17, 18. Possible overtaking opportunity here into 19. We've been discussing it earlier today, whether that's doable. And then he's going to pull into the pits and miss out the final corner, I believe, or is he just making a bit of gap?
He's just making himself a bit of space. So let's ride on board with him as he runs round here. We've got 1 minute to go, and we'll run through our top group as we ride on board with him. And one or a few things to keep an eye on, actually, as Petter Burlack goes a little bit quicker yet again, is the undulation. Obviously, we've got this massive run up the hill here. You can't actually see the apex when you come into this corner, so that's going to be a tricky one. But lots of little bits of undulation, especially through this first sector, and also thing to keep an eye on is brakes. If you really haven't set the car up well, you will be locking either your inside left, your inside right, or potentially your whole rear axle as well if you really get it wrong. So we'll have to keep an eye out for a few people having some moments on the brake. But anyway, as Tim is absolutely flying through the first sector here, let's run through our current top 10. Petter Burlack is our current pole sitter with a 147.9. He is followed by Lewis McGlade in the Aurora Motorsports car. Great outing from him. He's done 148.3, and he is very closely followed by Tim Heinemann, who we're currently riding on board with just a few tenths behind him as well. So the Aurora Motorsports cars are currently both in the top 3. Good stuff for them. Then we have Rasmus Saleh, the small car. He's done 148.3 as well, so all very close actually in the group. Then we have Terence Grench for Tana Motorsports. He's currently lying P5. Eric Strahan, who's had some great outings in recent races, he's currently lying P6 for Enterprise. And then we have Yoa 209 for THR, he's currently lying P7. Then we have James Kirk for Bastwick Grand Prix, he's currently P8. He's followed by Petter Duivelar in P9. And then we have Jaden Wright, who is a new name to this series. Welcome, Jaden, driving for Cosmo. He's currently P10. So that's our current top 10, as Heinemann is just about to run through, let's call it the inverse turn 8. Phil, take it away as we run down towards the line.
So yeah, whether this corner's overtaking possibility, it's a bit of braking, but not much. You're going to really kind of hang out with them. Oh, a bit of a kind of catch the moment there for him. Is he going to go quicker? I'd be surprised if he does. Oh, again, no, he's not going to go quicker. Oh, he has.
Oh, he has. How about that?
He would do that. As a short, the finish line is actually quite after the last corner, so that helped him a lot.
Yes,
who else are we looking at moving at the moment? Oh, I think that was James Kirk moving up to 5th there, so that's a good performance from him. Good spot. Who we got 209 in 8th place, currently coming around the final corner. Can he improve upon himself? So like I said, a very short run to the final line. No, he hasn't improved. Who else we got coming round? I'm trying to look.
Strahan. Oh, good luck from Strahan there. He's gone into P2 with his last effort there, a 148 dead. Less than a tenth behind Burlack, so that's good for him. He's certainly made an impression on the season as we've gone on. Just keeping an eye on any other drivers. I think actually our last man who may be on a lap is Duivelar. He is Burlack's teammate. Great racing, and we'll get to that in a moment. Bombs the last time out between himself, Petter, and Eric. Fantastic stuff in the first race. Anyway, let's see him as he comes through this final section here. Certainly kind of quite a unique section, I guess, as open wheel cars would go. It's very sort of twisty and turny. You know, it's not quite a street circuit. It's not quite it's not quite a traditional circuit where it's very fast and flowing. A little bit in between, something perhaps we wouldn't normally see. As I actually think Peter is going to pull in. Yes, he is. So that is that lap scrub. So I think that's actually everyone who can do a lap has done. We'll have to wait for our final confirmation here from our race director. I think Henneman actually might be on a lap. No, well, I think he crossed the line, but I think he's just coming back in to bring the car in. as we have David Yunt, who's actually right up behind him, so he probably actually just benefited a bit there for slipstreaming's sake, but he's just going through this tricky little section here, running up to the inverse turn 8, let's call it.
Yeah, so as you see here, is he going to catch? He's having to lift off the throttle to make it round the corner with the lack of downforce. Heinemann up ahead. Well, that's going to be a close one. They're really fighting the cars, these two. Is he going to be pulling in? Looks like it. Yep.
So far.
Tim nearly missed the entry point. That's going to be interesting. Also notice the entry point for the pits is also not much braking time there, so hopefully it'll be rather obvious if they do pull into the pits for us. And yes, as we've been discussing, it's quite warm out there, so we could see tyres being an issue.
We could very well do. I mean, so the unique nature, of course, the first sector being incredibly technical and the second sector being very open and fast, it could go quite legitimately with a high downforce setup or a low downforce setup and it do equally as well. So it's going to be interesting to see who goes with which option. We'll see what happens. So that is the qualification complete, and we have our top 10 for you. And we'll get those just in a moment once we advance into our warm-up session before race 1. So our order, as it will be, top 10 will be Petter Burlak on pole position. He will be joined on the first row by Eric Strahan in the Enterprise GP car. Then we have both Aurora Motorsports, great showing by those two. We have Heinemann and McGlade lining up P3 and P4. Then we'll have Rasmus Salo for Smile Power, he'll be starting P5. James Kirk in the Bastwick car, good showing there, he will start P6. We have Terence Gretsch, Ewa Tuonoinen, Peter Duivelar in the Walk car, and Jaden Wright rounding out our top 10. And rounding out our top 15, we have Ben Warren driving for Racing Team Schroeder, good showing there, P11. Thomas Fadler, he will start P12 in the Team Proline car. Richard Coxon, another good showing for Cosmo there, he's up in P13. We have Bruno Sousa Ferreira for Placey, he'll be starting P14. And Tommy Oyala, starting P15 in the Smile Power car.
So it looks like we've got an exciting evening planned again, just kind of seeing how the few of them going out for warm-up, just to see what the conditions are like, if it's changed. I don't know if it's changed much.
They will have to keep an eye. The ambient temperature actually has gone up to 33 degrees, the track up to 42, so baking under this lovely Texan sun. Of course, everything's bigger in Texas, including the track temperature apparently, so it's going to be well and truly toasty for the tyres, I think, and it's definitely going to be interesting to see who set their car up, potentially bearing that in mind. So, as we've got drivers making their way out to warm up, let's cover, shall we, what happened last time out at Monza, because honestly, if you missed it, it was a real treat. I'd recommend going and finding the replay if you can find it on the YouTube channel or on Simrace TV. We had two absolutely outstanding races at the fastest track we visit on the calendar, the wonderful Autodromo de Monza. And we had a superb, absolute fight between Petter Burlak, Peter Duivelar, and Eric Strahan pretty much for the whole race in race 1, changing positions almost every lap on lap, and it was absolutely fantastic to watch. Clean, fast, enjoyable racing, and once Petter broke the gap, he was able to make up some time, and well, he finished that race in a very well-deserved first place. He was followed home by his teammate Duivelar and Strahan in P3, and then in the second race, to back it up, Petter, he brought home the win there as well. He did the double header as he's done a few times so far this season. So
that was quite possibly my favourite race to commentate on that one.
It was full of all sorts going on, and also let's not forget Rasmus Salo and Ewa Tuonoinen coming home second and third as well. Good races for those guys. So all sorts of actions from Monza. A very different track though. Although it has fast tendencies, this track, got certainly quite a few more corners here. In fact, actually, how many corners do we have, supposedly? 20 corners, according to my track map here. Well, that's merely 12 more than we had at Monza, so it's going to be a bit of a different animal. So we have to see if those races can... these races, I should say, can emulate those. Hopefully they will indeed. So...
I can't believe we've talked about Monza and we haven't even discussed the weather of race 2. I think seeing the change of the heavy rain, drivers wondering whether to start on wet. Some started in the pits on wet. Some people tried managing it with the dries, and seeing it get wetter and wetter, their hearts must have sank.
Absolutely. I mean, so that is the beauty of the RFE plugin that we have here in the league. It can really play that Joker card with the weather, and well, we've got plenty of hot track temperature right now, so you never know. I am not expecting rain this evening, but you could expect perhaps lots and lots of very, very hot sun, that's for sure. So I think actually a few drivers are running around just getting an idea of what their tyre temperatures are going to be like, and it's going to be all critical to make sure that your tyres last, I think. So many corners, and so many loaded corners as well, as we're calling it, the inverse turn 8. We've got this whole fast sector 1 and 2, or very technical fast sector 1 and continues into the early part of sector 2. You've got to make sure that your tyres are absolutely working to optimum pressures and temperatures, otherwise yeah, it's going to be a bit of a sticky situation, I think. So, excuse the pun.
90 seconds to go. I'll totally ignore it. With 90 seconds to go, we should probably wrap up Monza with a few grid penalties that are being applied for this race at Monza. We're seeing Richard Coxon, Thomas Hinds and Rob Mason all have 10-place grid penalties for this race. And Timu Toika got a 10-second time penalty added on to race 1 for avoidable contact.
We just heard that Richard Fox actually he's got a grid penalty as well, so he's going to be dropping down the order from that 13th place, which is unfortunate. But that Cosmo car seems to have a lot of pace in it, so you never know, he'll be making his way up the order, I am sure, as we get going here. And as Phil mentioned, himself and I, we had a good chat about potential overtaking opportunities here, and I personally think the move down into turn 19, the second to last corner, I think that's asking a bit much. But
it'll be bold. I'm not going to argue. It's going to be bold. You're going to have to somehow stay with them round the inverse turn 8, and then kind of
wriggle your way up the inside. But
yes, but then also 13, 14, 15 at long left-hander near the start of sector 2. I can also see a few cars. It's quite wide. A lot of these corners have wide entry points, which kind of tempts the driver into making a move.
Absolutely. One of the newer tracks designed by Tokyo, of course. Some of these corners, as we've mentioned, they're deliberately being left wide to encourage overtaking, and there are plenty of opportunities around the track, I'm pleased to say. Anyway, warm-up is now completing, and we will be advancing to the race in a few moments' time, and we will run down our complete grid of, I believe, we're looking at about 36 cars tonight, so plenty of cars, plenty of drivers, and I'm sure plenty of action to follow in just a moment's time.
Just wait for our famous stadium announcer to say his thing.
And there he goes. He's warned everyone that we've got a race to run. We've got 2 14-lap races here. And in this track temperature, currently 40 degrees on track, 35 ambient, it's going to be a real test, I think, of the tyres. And you will be able to make those tyres last. Anyway, a few warnings for our drivers from our race directors this evening as everyone's making their way out to grid. And once everyone is out grid, they've got a few seconds to get out there, we will start our formation lap. And we will start our race 1 here tonight. So, Phil, anyone to keep an eye on, any ones to watch?
Well, I'm disappointed we haven't got our Rory Vasili is not here tonight, so I can't be his #1 fan. So I'm going to say... I would say Terence Scratch. I'm looking at kind of, I mean, obviously it's a 2-horse race, we think, in the championship, so Peter is going to be in a world of his own. But I think Terence, James, Rasmus, they're going to have a good fight, I feel, in 5th and 7th.
Indeed, plenty to keep an eye on. I'm saying keep an eye on Dweevalar. He's starting P9 in that walk car, and he's mighty quick. Anyway, let's get to running through our race order here as our drivers are on their formation lap. Starting P1 will be Petter Burlak in the walk racing car. He's followed by Eric Strand in the Enterprise GP machine. He is then followed by both of the Aurora Motorsports cars, being led by Tim Hanneman and backed up by Lewis McGlade. Then we have Rasmus Salo for Smile Power. He is followed by James Kirk in the Vastovic car. Then we have Terence Gretsch, who will be starting P7. He's followed by Juha Toinainen and Petter Duvala in P8 and 9 respectively. Then we have Jaden Wright, great debut there. He's starting P10 in the Cosmo car, followed by Ben Warren, Thomas Fadler, Bruno Sousa Ferreira, Tommy Oulala, and rounding out our top 15, we'll have Mike Troten for Racing Team Troten.
So as we go to 16th, we've got Paul McKenna in Tansken Racing. Just behind him, Sven Schubert in Zederick Racing, P17. Adam Osger for YTF1 takes 18th, with Mark Sport in 19th. And then 20th place, it's Ben Hackerson for the Viking Racing car. David Yunt in 21st of THR with Hansco Mebius, Enterprise GP, right behind him in 22nd. Tudor Pangev, I probably got that name wrong, JRT car in 24th, with Timu Toika, Velocity Racing, 25th. Then we've got Tobias Olsen for Vastovic Grand Prix in 26th, with Andres Pestovs for Zedek Racing, 27th. Sandeep Chopra for Team Proline in 28th. First in the night racing cars of Ben Willis in 29th, and his teammate Alexander van der Wood in 30th.
Then we have Emil Sandberg in the second of the Viking cars. He'll be starting P31. Florian Engel will be coming, or starting this race. I'd say hopefully coming home quite a bit higher in the Royal Brew racing car. He'll be starting P32. Ollie Woods for Velocity Racing will be starting P33. Then we have Thomas Hibbs replacing, starting P34. And rounding our grid, we'll have Rob Mason, YTF1, will be starting P35. Also to mention, Richard Coxon, who I think you might have just missed, or I certainly missed you saying it, he'll be starting P23 for Ultimo. Also one thing to mention as well, I didn't realise that David Young, he is currently sat P2, I believe, in our championship, starting P21. That's a lot of work to do to get himself into the serious points paying positions. All Petter Burlak needs is 27 points, but I'm sure for pole position he'll be able to score a decent bucketful here and now.
Yeah, you're looking at kind of a decent podium for this first race to really get the majority in as our cars line up at the back.
They are final cars coming onto the grid, everyone getting themselves all angular and ready. It's a short run, but it's a hard run up to turn 1. As the lights come on, 1 light, 2 light, 3 light, 4 lights. Oh, Petter Burlak's reversed. What on earth is going on there? 5 lights, he's away. That surely will be an inverse jump start, but Strahn, he gets the benefit of the doubt. He takes the lead. Kirk, look at Kirk. Great start from P5. We've got Heinemann attacking up the inside. Plenty of room. Oh, well, that's a lovely move up into Peter Heinemann.
I think there's a few front wings gone there. Oh, Ajala's been spun round. Yeah, there's a front wing gone, at least one, I think, on the back.
That's a real pity. We'll have to see if anything happens to Burlak there. I don't think he really gained an advantage, but he moved before the start, so that's going to be naughty. Kirk, he's gone up to P4 there, so he's been able to gain one through all that and keep all his wings and whatnot attached. And we have Gretsch, Fadler, and 2 and 9, and all in close proximity as well. So great start from that lot. Eric Strachan leads us as we run down into turn 11 for the first time.
Well, we've definitely got a few other cars off at the back. That's Hackerson, and there's somebody spun that could be, looks like it could be it's Timo Toika, and Engel's right at the back as well. It looks like he's going very slow. May have a puncher, and we've got Ajala around again. He probably has an issue there.
Yeah, it looks like he's got himself, unfortunately, involved in a few moments early on, and it can be so critical in these Formula Challenge races. It really is critical to get a nice, clean start, as clean as you can get it. Because they're losing a wing, getting a puncture, basically having to pit in these early moments can be absolutely killer. As Fadler, he makes a great move down into turn 12 there on Gretsch, but Gretsch has come back at him. So these two scrapping over 5th and 6th place. Of course, we've got 2 and 9 and not a great distance behind. Oh, Fadler, lovely stuff. Lovely and late. I think he caught Gretsch a little unawares there. Fadler up to P5, lovely move.
And we got Tim Heinemann right on the back of Strahn. If he's going to do it, he may try my turn 19 dive. No, he's backed off. I don't blame him for that one. Maybe turn 19 is a bit adventurous on lap 1 of the race. But he's got Strahn right in his sights. We go down the final corner. Is he going to be? And he's a good exit
Mighty
here.
Exit.
Goes up. Yep. He's going to see if he gets a slipstream. Turn 1. So it's going to be a very wide entry point. Has he got the slipstream? Has he got the extra speed up the hill? It's going to be close.
It's very even. It's very even. Gearing, but much later on the brakes. Can he get the line covered? Just about. Heinemann takes the lead. He's Strahn there, just about a car's width. And he's got that job, or that move done, signed, sealed, and delivered. So Heinemann now takes the lead. Lovely move.
Back. Bruno Cesar Ferreira is up to 6th place, so he's had a brilliant start moving up positions.
Absolutely, and just keeping an eye on other fights that we've got going on. We saw Fadler getting by Gretsch. He's unfortunately gone way down the order. I've actually lost sight of where he is. He's certainly not in the top 13. Yeah, so Gretsch unfortunately has had a bit of a howler there in between when we last saw him, but Fadler, he's making his way forward. A little bit of a lock-up down into turn 11 there, so that will have to give Kirk the opportunity to scamper away this time round. But we've now got very much a 3-car fight starting here now. We've got Petter Burlak, he's taking a watching brief as Strahn, he's got a slip screaming down that back straight. Nice and fairly straightforward move. He now retakes his lead as Heinemann. All sorts of power, all sorts of right foot coming out of that corner there. And with so many, very slow section here compared to the section they've just come off, you've got to make sure you get all the traction down, make sure you don't give any places away.
So the Viking racing guys sadly had to stack up in the pit lane as we've got Schubert and Wright fighting each other for 11th, 12th, 13th. Oh, looks like Schroten could have a nice line here. Is he fighting Wright for some extra points at the end? We go through the inverse. I'm just going to call it Istanbul, I think, this corner. It's much easier. He's going to get a nice line through here. Is he going to dive down the inside at turn 19? Is anybody going to dive? Oh, Yaden Wright's dive at 19, but not quite been able to do it. Though he may have pushed Schubert wide. Don't think that counts.
I don't think it does either. Just keeping an eye, we've had a few moments. I think Oyala has had a spin or a stop or something down in the second sector, and Hackerson had a moment on the lap, or on this lap earlier on. So drama's down the back of the field. but plenty of scraps going.
Oh, Rasmus Solo has gone down interesting line into the first corner. He's right next to Bruno Cesar Ferreira, the 6th and 7th. It's going to be some interesting fighting going through sector 1 and playing around who's got the better line. I think Bruno should hold it.
Oh, no, not. He doesn't. So this is the wonderful, the very nice thing about this sector is that you've got to be absolutely line perfect. Look at that. So Bruno had a moment going into that very long right-hander, off camber, blind as well. And look at that, the gap opened up, Salo went up, very much a piece of that action, and he's got himself up to 6th place, so critical, absolutely critical, not too greedy, trying to carry too much speed, because you can lose places.
Blade diving down as well.
Oh, late on the brakes.
11, very late, he just about made it.
He has indeed, just about kept everything together there, but 209 is going to be right on his gearbox on this straight, so I think that place is going to go straight back. Like an actually worthwhile to stay behind him and allow him to get the slipstream as 209 is going Yes, they continue to do. Yes, we've got Burlak. Yeah, Burlak's now got past Heinemann, who's dropped down to 3rd, but is right on the gearbox. Burlak is chasing like a fox Strahn. So these three are going to scrap. Very reminiscent of Monza so far, these three. Clearly class of the field. We've got Kirk, who's just dropping way off the back of these guys at the minute. Just having a look at the lap times. Last time around, he was, blimey, almost a second slower. So I think it's going to be these three fighting are still quicker than the rest of the field.
Petter's having to take a drive through, I believe.
Yeah, this does not surprise me, that jump start, unfortunately. Even though he didn't go forwards, you're not meant to move before the lights. So this is going to be fascinating. Can he get out ahead of a bunch of this traffic? I don't think he can. He's taken all the available laps he can. You're allowed 3 to try and serve your penalty. He's serving it now, and he's taken him all the way back to 11th place as he's getting himself back up to speed.
Shoto in 12th is going to be fighting him, I think. He's going to have warm. Should be okay. He's got 11th there.
Yeah, tyres shouldn't be a factor. All should be toasty. If lose too much, in fact, actually losing a bit of temperature might not be such a bad thing for Petty. He's down in P11. As things go, he needs those 27 points. If he finishes here and gets that reverse grid magic, he might be able to win the second race, and that's all he'll need to seal the championship this evening. As McGlade, McGlade right, a big spin there. Petty just about avoids that and takes 2 places for the measure. I didn't quite see what happened there, but I think that was a little bit of I'm on your inside. Oh, I'm being spun around now, so I hope we might get a replay of that. But drama there for Wright and McGlade.
Yeah, it looks like McGlade there kind of had a really good entry into that corner and just taps right, starts spinning him, and then kind of taps him again. Looks like he's not deciding to wait for him, so he's carrying on.
Indeed he is. Just keeping an eye on other fights going on. We have Fadler, Salo and Sousa Ferreira. They're all very close together on the track. They're second sectors. Oh, 209 and a little cheeky look there on the back of Sousa Ferreira's play seat machine. Salo's got a lovely entry and exit there through turn 13 into 14. Oh, look at that. Salo's gone, I'll have a piece of that. Thank you very much, Dan. So that's done for Salo. He's up to P4. Meanwhile, Kirk, he's got a 4.8 second gap with these guys, and he's now 3 seconds himself behind Henneman and Strahn. So it's very much game on for Henneman and Strahn. They're right close together until the rest of the field can catch up. And Petter, he's still in P9. He's got a little bit of clear track ahead of him. If he wants the win this evening, as Schroep and Schubert go well wide out of turn 19 there, he's going to have to put his foot down and start making move. We're on lap 5 of 14. We're nearing, a third distance now. So plenty of action off the start of race 1 here.
Yeah, Petter's using all of the track and then some during those few corners in sector 3. So currently up to 9th, so a decent bag of points. David Young's currently 16th, but he's fighting for positions with Ben Warren and Mark Wicks at the moment. In fact, he should be moving up to 15th here. Yes, he does. So he could delay a championship, but it's still all to play for.
Indeed. So the situation being, after tonight, we'll have 150 points available to win absolutely every single race. So if Petter gets more than 150 points gap to the next car, I think it's about 127 at this point, which I think is Yuntz, is going to be all over tonight. So it's going to be a case of score as many points as possible. I think Paul Burlak, a real drama there off the start, as he's now caught Sousa Ferreira, who's come right back down the field actually. He was fighting up Salo and Fadler early on, so clearly a moment there for the Placey driver. But Burlak's got the next car in his sights, and it's going to be Sousa Ferreira.
Up 7th as he passes Lewis McGlade on the straight, so he's got slightly better wing. Is McGlade going to look at coming back? He is. He's braked very late and then some.
And he's got it stopped. Absolutely, evidently making sure that car can stop for 6 minutes. Thank you very much. And those two are going to be scrapping. Burlak's going to be going, oh well, this is a bit of a drama. Or can he engineer something to slingshot himself past both of them? Oh, look at that, he's done the same move Salo's done earlier. Sousa Ferreira's absolutely nowhere there, missing all the apexes and then some. But he's now gained a place, or lost a place, sorry, to Burlak. So Burlak's now got McGlade in his sights. He's 7 and 8. This fight's going to continue to develop over the next lap, I think. And then you'll have 2 and 9 and up the road. He's fighting Fadler. Oh my goodness, you nearly had a move done into turn 19. Oh, 2 and 9 and latest on the brakes down into the last corner. But oh, switcheroo from Fadler. He's having none of that. Down into the last corner. Run across the line. Fadler and 2 and 9 and fighting over 6th and 5th. Rasmus Salo's going, thank you very much, though. I'm running away, and he's closing down the gap now on James Kirk in the Bastovic car.
So I'm currently watching 10th to 12th have a good fight at the moment. It's Schubert, Wright and Schroten. Some interesting lines being taken. Oh, Schubert and Wright had a touch there. Schroten going to be able to take advantage. He's got one of them. Is he going to be able to get Schubert? No, he's not, but it's going to be an interesting fight through Sector 1.
Is indeed. Not many overtaking opportunities. You really got to wait for your rival to make a mistake, as we saw a few laps ago, and Salo benefiting from that as Osgo has retired from the race, unfortunately, but hopefully he'll be back for the second round. And just mentioning our leading fight, the gap is actually ever so slightly extended in Strahn's favour. The gap on to almost a second, as they're now running along the long back straight from Heinemann. And Kirk hasn't really made too much more of an impression. Gap now 3.5 between second and third, and Salo's closing that in, so I think we're going to have a real fight now that Salo's got himself some clear air. So, and then of course we've got this great scrap for P5, 6 and 7, which Burlak is well and truly a piece of now actually. He's got that move done on McGlade, and he's now fighting 2 and 9. 2 and 9 is locked up, and he's gone backwards there, down into turn 12. I said keep an eye on brakes as Burlak, he wants more. He's got himself up the inside for Fadler. He's going to have a little way to go there. He's going to have a look up the inside. Oh, locked up on the brakes there. Fadler's going, oh, I'm wise to that one. Thank you very much. I've used that myself. You're going to have to try another way around. But Burlak, he's driving well. He's back up to P6. He's gathering yet more points in.
So we've got a 10th and 12th still fighting. Oh, Schubert's hit right and nearly forced him off the circuit. Another touch there from the two of them. They are. Oh, Schroten's getting involved as well. That's going to be a collision. They are very much elbows, and Mark Wicks is now deciding to get involved. And Schroten's going to spin. He's been hit by Wright, and then Dumoulin going to be round. Oh dear, that's not gone too well at all.
No, it has to avoid him. Plenty of elbows in the lower end of the field. Touring cars, you might be able to get away with it. A lovely little bit of a move there into turn 1. He's not completed it though, so Fadler remains P5 there. But yes, plenty of elbows in the lower half of the point-scoring positions in the midfield. So touring cars, you might allow a few elbows, but these Formula cars, you break your wing, that's your chips, mate. So they might want to think twice about that. They don't want to get themselves into any trouble as Burlak. Goodness me, he's really fighting Fadler. In fact, a little bit of contact there between himself and McGlade who look to benefit. We've got 4 cars all within a few corners of each other here as they now rake the run down the hill to turn 11 and this long back straight. The slipstreaming fight here is going to be fascinating.
Yeah, this kind of scene, we've got McGlade just... Oh yes, there's got a nice little train of them all fighting each other at the moment. So who's going to be the take real advantage of this? Yeah, 2 and 9 is too far back in 8th and 9th.
He is indeed. I think Fadler's going to be the winner here, though. He's going to get a lovely slipstream. His car's working well, and he's going to be able to get himself on the brakes, nice and late, and slingshot himself past Fadler. Then all he has to do is just get a nice clean exit. It was,
nice
Fadler has a lock up there, and I think that more helped Petter than anyone else. So Petter, the drive, the comeback is on. He's up to P5. Rasmus Salo is now his next target, only 3.5 seconds up the road.
Fadler's not fully finished yet. He'll be kind of pushing him around a little bit, see what he can do. No, okay, maybe it is now.
Of course, the issue being that if you start to fight someone, you're going to slow yourself down. So all Petter really has to do is just focus on driving as he normally would in free air, and he'll probably be able to make a bit of a gap. And he's already done that. As Sousa Ferreira having to go very defensive as McGlade.
What a move around the outside.
Round the outside at turn 19. Lovely stuff from McGlade there. Well taken position. He's now got Fadler to fight if he can catch up and keep Sousa Ferreira behind.
Just looking at the last point position at the moment is Terence Brett, who's got Warren and Schroten ahead of him. And he's got, for that second gap to Dumoulin, 16th, who's still fighting Yaden Wright earlier on, who had that lots of contact going on. Yaden's ahead now. I don't think he's going to be ahead for very long as Dumoulin at the inside, but wondering what lines are going to take with this wonderful turn 1. It's such different lines you can take through that. It's really kind of up to the ante going through the sector 1.
It does indeed, and it's a real roller coaster of a corner because you sort of ride your way up really incredibly quickly. Of course, you're uphill, so you can brake a little later than you would do normally. Then you're dropping right back down again into this sector, this very technical sector 1, as Engel is getting out the way of the leaders there, a bit of lapsed traffic. So yeah, it's a very unique corner. We don't really see much like it anywhere else on the calendar. So a pleasure to see it, and it's given us plenty of overtaking so far this evening. As the race is continuing, we've got Petter Burlak, he's trying to reel in Rasmus Salo, who himself is trying to catch James Kirk. Actually, James, he's put in a good little stint here in the mid part of the race. He's maintained that gap at about 4 seconds, so he's doing well. Looks like he might be able to seal himself a podium position if he keeps it all on the black stuff. Meanwhile, Tim Hanneman is still stalking Eric Strawn. He's got a second gap to the Enterprise driver. Maybe perhaps a little bit of tyre games going on. We're over, or we'll be going over half race distance.
Fadler Glade 6th and 7th there, a bit of an interesting pass from Fadler. I think there was a bit of contact, but he's managed to make it past him.
Just about going through long turn 8, or inverse turn 8, as McGlade has been able to hold on to that. Don't think there's going to be opportunity to 19 here. I think it would just be a matter of gathering up your thoughts here from Fadler. You'll be looking at getting a good exit here in the last corner and just trying to make a move into turn 1, I would suspect. But Sousa Ferreira a little bit sideways, but he's been able to get the power down, and to my money, it looks like he might have gained a little bit there. So these three still scrapping for the nice points haul, the mid top 10 points haul, which is good stuff to see. But still, McGlade's got that one covered for now.
So yeah, gap-wise at the front, still hanging about just over a second. James has gone a little bit further back there, so lost a second on the guys. 6.2 off the lead. And he's got a 3-second gap to Rasmus Salo, who himself has a 3-second gap to Petter Brillack, but I think that's slowly coming down. Yeah, it's all kind of gaps at the front. The first real fight going on is 7th and 8th between Fadlo and Ferreira.
Yes, indeed. It is, I think, just a case now of drivers settling down and trying to drive their own race. The track conditions, it's 43 degrees track temperature now, so definitely entire roasting zone, I think it's fair to say. It'll be interesting to see once we have our interviews with our drivers after the event to see if these hot conditions were a factor in setups working or not. But it's interesting to see that actually Burlack...
Oh, Junt's have been spun by Schubert there.
Oh,
he's
and
pointing the wrong way.
Oh my goodness me, yes, you just catch the end of that. That is not a pleasant one to be having. So Schubert and Junt just looking on the replay here down into turn 11. Schubert up the inside just about, space given, just about. And on exit, I think Schubert just squeezes him and pit manoeuvre into the wall. So that is drama there for Junt. He's going to fall back down the order at a rate of knots. He's down to P18. So real drama, because that has championship ramifications. All of a sudden, Burlack's job has got a little bit easier. He just has to score as many points as possible now. So he's continuing to run around at P5, as unfortunately Florian Engel has had to retire. And Burlack, he's reeling in now, actually. He really is. Rasmus Salo, a rate of knots. The gap now just 2 seconds. It was for a few laps ago. So we have 5 laps to go. Drivers starting their 9th lap as I speak. 2/3 distance. We've still got a third to go. So plenty of action to play out.
What we've got happening at the moment, yep, we've still got Fadlo and Ferreira fighting each other hard, and 9th just ahead of Wicks.
Interesting scrap, sorry, just keeping an eye on the fight for P24, 25 and 26, all very close. We've got Mason, Hinn, Van der Wood and Pangev. They're all very close. In fact, Pangev, he's got the inside. One little lock up there. He's having a look at the inside of Van der Wood, and he's got that one done. Nice little move there into the final corner on Van der Wood. He's got to have to be careful though, because Van der Wood, it's almost like he's bum drafting him along there along the start-finish straight. So we might have a little of afters here down to turn 1. Lots of locking up there from Pangev, but he's got it stopped through the corner. So that's a position gain. Most certainly just have to keep it on the black stuff as we run through sector 1 here. So good move there from Pangev. Plenty of action up and down the field. So that's Axel. He's going to stop at turn 11, letting the grid through. Any dramas? As we have actually, a development indeed. We have Eric Strawn. The gap between Strawn and Heinemann is opened up to 4 seconds all of a sudden. There must have been a moment somewhere for Heinemann to do so much time. He's still, I'd say, probably just about safe, but Kirk's definitely got a Aurora Motorsports car all of a sudden a lot closer, and that's going to drive any driver on, I'm sure, to try and eat that little bit more points out of his car.
Petter's slowly making inroads towards Salo. Whether he's going to be able to get up to 4th place before he finishes race, I don't know at the moment, but he should be getting, like I said, a decent amount of points, which we'll then have to work out the ramifications of it between races 1 and 2. We still got any big fights going on? Still 11th, 12th, 13th of Schubert, Warren and Duval very close to each other. And Terence Gretsch bringing Schroeton with him.
Indeed, a real fight, very much so, a real proper fight there for the final points paying positions. Now an interesting thought has just crossed my mind. You see some down the field where they've been able to make the car work, but in these conditions, really, I think if you took away the dramas off the start, and obviously all those cars trying to fit through a very, narrow exit, turn 1, everyone actually has been doing vaguely the similar kind of pace. Just looking at our lap times here, there is a bit of variation on some leaders. It's very good qualifying pace, but everyone's vaguely doing about 1 minute 50s at the moment. So the gap's not really extending or closing anywhere at all. So very, very good at this point in the race.
Seeing Van Wooden's had suspension failure or suspension issues, so he's retired. I saw Ian Wright was back in the pits. He's now back out, currently in 27th.
Yes, indeed. In fact, actually, McGlade, he's been able to shake the fight, which is Fadler and Sousa Ferreira. Those two still scrapping over 7th and 8th places. So evidently, if you can get yourself away from a fight and into some clean air, just focus on doing some laps. As Kirk spun! Kirk has spun it. He's dropped it down at turn 13 there. Unlucky for some, unlucky for Kirk there. He's unfortunately just a slight momentary error. Oh, goodness, I was just keeping an eye on the fight which was developing between Salo and Burlack, both of whom have been able to move up a place. So dramas there for James. Real pity, he was running a really good strong race there, but he's now fallen back down to 5th place, and the Blade is not that far behind either, so hopefully that he'll be able to recover and come home in a good point scoring position, but real drama so close to the end.
This again helps Bridek now
does indeed.
Place and still able to come back and get on the podium, having done a drive-through.
Absolutely, he's just a second, in fact you see at the moment as he crosses the line, just over a second and a bit behind Burlack, or Salo, sorry. So very much on the cards. If he gets a good few laps together here, he'll be able to get himself on the podium. Which, given the championship ramifications, and obviously the fact he had to do a drive, superb drive. So it's still all there for the taking.
McGlade has got past. McGlade's got past James for 5th. Just slipstreamed down turn 1 with a better turn 1 entry. Sorry, slipstreamed down pit straight turn 1.
Oh, there you go, unfortunately. Oh, Burlack, slight mistake there. Oh, just clipped a little anti-cut. He just saw the front of his car and why was there going to be more drama? But he's just about gathered that one together. But yes, a nice move executed there by McGlade. Unfortunately, just one of those horrible things. If you go out of momentum, even for a moment, you can start to really hemorrhage positions. But McGlade and Kirk, they're still very close together. I'm sure that's going to be a fight to watch in the final closing stages of our race here. In fact, oh my goodness, McGlade immediately going defensive. This is going to be definitely fight for P5 and P6 down into turn 12. McGlade really being defensive on that line. Kirk's got a good slipstream. He's pulled out. Who's going to be latest on the brakes? Oh, I'd say McGlade just about, and he gets it stopped. Can he keep Kirk behind him? No. Looks like Kirk's got a much better exit, but he's on the inside critically here for the next turn, and he's just about got that one covered now. Can James, can he swing it up the inside as we've seen a few others do? No, he can't. Lewis covers the line, gets himself lovely, very nicely around the or corner 15 and covers it just about. So that's a fight. I think we're definitely going to have to keep an eye on these two. Clearly very feisty as Strawn comes on to lap 12 of 14 with a 5.5 second gap. So clearly he's cruising now. So he's enjoying himself. Petter, he's closing that gap down now. Ever so slightly gap between himself and Salo. 1.2, 1 second as we cross the start-finish line.
And Strawn's pulled up the gap to 5.4 now, so it looks like he's on for wins. Won our penultimate lap, lap 13 and 14. We're seeing what else is going on up and down the grid. Yeah, James isn't losing McGlade.
Nope, it's going to be one to watch. There's as if we were across the start-finish, a second gap, but it's definitely going to be a lot less than that, given the fact we'll be able to slipstream and whatnot through that start-finish straight. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that. It's going to be a nice fight back, I'm sure.
Yunt's down in 17th, and I think he's going to struggle to get any points in this race. It's a shame, really, because it was particularly his fault, the spin.
No, unfortunately just a bit of contact there. I'm sure that'll be looked at after the race by our disciplinary committee. But yes, that just has huge ramifications to it. Of course, you know, we're getting to the business end of the championship, and if you do want to put your initials on the trophy or your name on that trophy, you've got to be consistent. And you, to a degree, have to have some of the luck running your way as well. And unfortunately, David, they just had a moment which was a little bit cumbersome between two drivers, and he's unfortunately had to pay the penalty there. But I'm sure he'll bounce back. He's definitely in reverse grid land, or reverse grid zone. So he might be able to score a good batch of points here. It's not all over yet.
We've got a moment. So Petter now under second behind Salo as they go.
Very close indeed as they're running through. We've got a few laps remaining. There's still an opportunity, and goodness me, look at Petter. That he got really good traction there out of turn 15. So clearly, those rear tyres still very fresh on that walk racing car.
I reckon I fancy doing
I would not bet against it, as Strawn actually, he's dropped to second. Oh no, tell light, he's only dropped 7 tenths there. Out the front, as we've got, I think, most definitely the closest fight now is between Burlack and Salo. Burlack in that slipstream running up towards turn 1, who's going to be latest on the brakes and gets the optimal line. Look at Burlack, he's taking that angular line. Salo's going to cover. Not that way, he says. We're going to have to try something a bit different. So I think Burlack will regroup, do it himself nice and cleanly through this technical first sector. Perhaps think about getting a nice slipstream move done, as we have seen several times so far this race, down into turn 12.
You can see him though, he's kind of struggling with that lack of downforce through sector 1, but obviously it's going to help him through sector 2. He just needs to try and stay as close to Salo as he can, ready for turn 11 and turn 12. It looks like he's done a good job there.
It has done indeed. That was all made up there, I think, through turn 8. He got a really good line and good exit there, and he's right on the gearbox down to 11. I'd be waiting here. I'd like, okay, let's let this corner happen. Let's screaming, thank you very much. Let's really get this this overtake done and dusted. He's now right on the gearbox now of Salo. This is going to be for a podium position, one that Petter really needs. And he's up into P3 on the straight. Can he defend now from Salo, who's actually already lost a good distance back? Just look at that. Petter just clearly running a lot less down. Big offer down into turn 12, but he's got it stopped and through. Petter, what a drive up to the podium with just a lap remaining now. And we've got Strana, who's currently just going round
final 2
turn
corners.
8. Yep, so he's just about to go through 19 and 20. He's been dominant this evening. Absolutely dominant indeed. Has actually realised it's the last lap. So it's reading on lap thing here. But there you go, Eric Strawn yet again. A lovely race win there. The Enterprise car, good stuff. That's going to help him win his championship. Fight there, Heinemann, great try for Aurora Motorsports. He comes home in 12th, but Petter Burlack, what a man, serves a drive through, still finishes on the podium. Good stuff from Petter. A lot of the hard work has been done now. That's, I think, 18 points, something like that.
15 points in third place.
15, I'm sorry. So a good chunk of points there sorted out. All he needs to do is now finish well, and he'll be well in the money for taking home that.
So, Terence Gretsch gets the last points position there. Paul McKenna just outside, and even Yunt there, 17th. So Yunt gets no points in that race. So that is 15 to 27 he needs. So I think a 4th place in the next race, if he can work his way up, would do it for Petter.
Yep. So there you are. It's all to play for. All depends on that reverse grid draw, of course. But before we go there, let's run through our finishing positions here on our grids. We have winning the race, Eric Strawn for Enterprise. P2 is Tim Heinemann. He's followed home by Petter Burlack. Rasmus Salo finished P4, followed by Lewis McGlade. Bruno Souza Ferreira finished P6, and a recovering James Cook comes home in P7. So good result there. Unfortunate spin there Ewa Tuinainen for THR. Good result for Ewa there. He's come home in P8, followed by Mark Wicks in the Katana Motorsports car, and Petter Duivala in the second walk racing car. He's come home P10. So not much movement as it happened. I know he had a big old fight through that midfield, so score there. Then we have Thomas Fadler after some great racing. He comes home P11. Sven Schubert in the Zedric car. He comes home P12. Then we have both racing team trophy cars of Ben Warren and Mike Trout in P13 and 14. And as Phil just mentioned, Terence Gretsch in the second Katana Motorsport car comes home P15. So those are our points finishes. And honestly, I think if Petter hadn't made that mistake right from the start, in fact, it's being discussed now by our drivers. In fact, the first comment is Petter going, lol. I think he could potentially have won that race, but there you are. Anything can happen, and it usually does. So, goodness gracious me, Petty, he certainly made a job for himself there, but I think he responded brilliantly.
Yeah, it's a very good comeback. Like I said, having a drive through and still getting on the podium really good for him. Like I said, done over half the job. It's whether he can make the points up in the second race. Now, as we've already mentioned, we've still got 3 more evenings, in fact, of Formula Challenge after this, so it doesn't need to be tonight, but I fancy him to get it done tonight. I think having seen him in Monza, admittedly that was because of having wet tyres, keeping the driver wet, he was able to recoup that, but I still think if make a comeback from there.
I'm sure, and of course, so the drivers is very much could be signed, sealed, and delivered tonight. But also, let's remember that the constructors' title is still very much up for grabs here. Walk led Tanskanen into this evening's racing by a mere 8 points. So obviously, the Walk boys both coming home very well inside the points. That will certainly help in that fight there. But you don't want to be risking the cars at this stage to perhaps cause yourself issues in the constructors' championship. So it's still all to play for on that side, so you don't want any daft moves. It might be a case of, okay, you've got 3 more evenings, 6 more races to wrap up your championship, but even still, you don't want to go and waste a good point score just for the sake of trying to wrap the championship a little bit up sooner.
We're just sorting ourselves out with a few more minutes of warm-up. I still think we need to discuss this track in you because you don't like it, and I still don't understand it. I find it a wonderful track. In fact, I'd say it's one of the best currently in the F1 season.
So you want to know something? I can see your attraction to it. There are some very nice corners and some very nice sections, but it just doesn't really do anything for me personally. It's I don't know quite. It's just missing that perhaps little special spice. I mean, to its credit, the race just saw plenty of overtake, lots of opportunities to sling your car up on the inside, but I think it's just missing that certain something. And Sector 1, Sector 2, very technical and very challenging, but to a degree, they're imitations, they're copies of corners on other race courses. So I don't know. It certainly has its charm. It certainly has its very unique, interesting quirks. But for me, it's just not up there in my top list of track, right? But that's my opinion. If you have yours, feel free to tweet us.
Yes, tweet us. #GPVWC. I tried to discuss mine. I just asked our cameraman extraordinaire tonight, Mr. Cameron Brewster, his thoughts of Austin. I'm sure he's rapidly typing away as I discuss this track. I find Turn 1 is extraordinary. I don't think you can get anything like that in the season. The large upward climb, how it opens up, really allowing you to dive in there. And too interesting to do, take a really tight line and really suffer on the way out. Because it's quite a long run down into Turn 2.
May I burst your bubble? May I burst your bubble? Because Turn 1 in a certain A1 ring, as it used to be called, and well, I'm going to continue to call it, is an uphill. Admittedly, it's a right-hander rather than a left, but still, I get your point.
Yeah, it's a right-hand, which we won't argue about. That is true. It's not as open though, and I don't think it's as steep compared to this track. I don't think it's not. It's also not a hairpin. It's like a 90-degree fight. So I don't think it offers as much. You can't. Obviously, yes, you can throw your car down there. But I think there's many more lines in this one, and then we've got obviously Sector 1, the fighting left-right, and then there's still a bit of braking into Sector 2. And then we've got the very long back straight, those 2 brilliant overtaking moves before and after that back straight. And then what I call the stadium complex in Sector 3, with a beautiful Istanbul right-hander, which obviously, like I said, we were correct, there wasn't much overtaking in Turn 19, but I think it has a bit of everything. And again, it's a lot of elevation changes. Obviously, it's not going to compare to Monza's evening with the rain we had in Race 2, but I think it still offers a lot more than you give it, I must admit. And it's definitely on my list of tracks to go to.
Well, there you are.
Mr. Cameraman, however, has just put Herman Tilke, enough said.
Well, there you go. Of course, the spice of life, everyone like different things. What I will say, though, to its credit, is, of course, that you get all sorts of racing. You get Formula 1, you get GT racing, you get X Games of all things as well.
MotoGP as well.
MotoGP, they all race here, so it's a track I think for all disciplines. There you are. So I may need to be a little more convinced, but hopefully Race 2 will do that. And speaking of Race 2, the racing gods have certainly shaken things up a bit, because we have on pole position our 20th place finisher, who will be Ben Willis. So we have a completely reversed grid from P20 all the way to P1. So
that means Petter's going to start around about 18th. So
around there, yes. So plenty of work to do again, and of course, with that many cars going into Turn 1, it is a very, very interesting proposition to have perhaps some slow cars ahead of some fast cars, and I think that one in particular is going to be fascinating. A quick update though on the weather: it's still mighty hot, track temperature at 41 degrees, so it may very well be that the track temperature may throw up some more wear issues. We'll have to see how things pan out. So Phil, we've got a minute and a bit here left for our second warm-up session of the evening. Ones to watch.
Ones to watch. I think it has to be Petter, quite simply. You know, he's done a lot of the job, but I think I fancy him to get 4th place from 18th. It's possible. It's going to be a very hard task, but I'd say he's definitely going to get a good bunch of points, and we could be looking at him either winning the Drivers' Championship in this race or race 1 in a fortnight at, I believe, I can't remember off the top of my head where it was
Abu
going.
Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi. No double points for us, but I still think he'll be doing it either here or race 1 Abu Dhabi.
I would not bet against that. You want to know something? He's going to be my one to watch as well because, well, we saw what a superb drive that he put in there to come back from a drive-through and still finish on the podium. If he can put anything like that together from P18 or so on the grid, it's going to be a drive of a champion, and I think it's rather poetic to do that here. I mean, certainly, you know, when I raced back in the challenge all those months ago, back in the early days of this year's championship, I sat and I watched his car when I was sort of, you know, in warm-up or something. I just watched it. We absolutely had that car hooked up, nailed, as far as setup goes. And I think it's a worthy task that drive evidently who's been able to drive the car the fastest wins the championship. So there you are. Anyway.
I was going to mention, obviously, a couple of drives, real-life drives that stick out. Andrew Jordan, last season, his final race at Brands Hatch, when he had to come from the back to do it.
Very true.
Jensen Button at Interlagos 2009. That, you know, we want our champions to really go for it.
Absolutely.
2 examples, will we get a 3rd tonight?
Indeed, and you never know, might have some weather. Very unlikely, but you never know how these things pan out. So our Factor Man speaks for the final time this evening. Our grid is now forming up. They have 25 seconds from now to do so for a second 14-lap race of the evening. Interestingly, we have a topsy-turvy grid with a few drivers, a few championship contenders who will find themselves at the front and the back as things are so it's going to be one to watch. See who can make the most of these, going to be very mixed conditions. So we're just waiting for the rest of the grid to line up here, and we will have our run through of our grid for race 2.
I think I'm going to do the top 15 just to be slightly different for once. I feel like, yes, I will be, because
there you are.
Yeah,
Go for it, good sir.
I'll make a start. We have Ben Willis starting on pole for Night Racing, with Timu Toika on the front row with him for Velocity Racing. 3rd position, Richard Coxon, Cosmo Autosport. Hopefully he'll have a good race with Cosmo. David Yunt in 4th place. Now we forgot about him. Obviously he's our main fighter against Peter. So, you know, if Peter doesn't make the places up, David needs to get a good result here to keep it going. Paul McKenna in 5th place for Tanskin Racing with Terence Gretsch in 6th for Katana Motorsport. And then we have both the racing team Schrotens in 7th and 8th of Mike Schroten and Ben Warren. Sven Schubert, Zedovic Racing in 9th. And Thomas Fadler, Team Proline in 10th, with Peter Duvillard, Walk Racing 11th. And those three had a massive battle for most of the race, so it'll be interesting to see how they do. Mark Wicks in 12th for Katana Motorsports with Tuinainen, 13th for THR, and then 14th is James Kirk in Basvic Grand Prix, and Bruno Cesar Ferreira in 15th for Placeit.
Then we have some starting P16, Lewis McGlade. He's followed in P17 by Rasmus Salo. Following them on is potentially our champion-elect. We'll have to see if he can make his way through. Petter Burlak may keep mentioning it, but I think it's a point we need to emphasise. But we then have the very quick Tim Heinemann in the Aurora car. He's followed by Eric Strahan in the equally quick Enterprise GP car, rounding out our top 20. Then we have Todor Pangev. Having a little off-track excursion there. I think just trying to avoid running into the back of someone there. He'll be starting P21. Then we have Andres Pestovs. He'll be racing in the second Zedric racing machine. He'll be starting P22. We have Thomas Hind in the second place seat car, all the second cars. He'll be starting in P23. He's followed by the second Enterprise car of Hansco Mebius, who'll be starting P24. Then we have Jaden Wright, who's actually starting from the pit lane. So that's a drama, so he's going to lose a load of places. He must not have made it to grid time, so that's a shame for Jaden there. Ron Mason will inherit P25 off the line there, but he's still P27 on the grid from White here at bottom. Then we have Ollie Woods, who'll be starting P27. He's followed by Ben Hackett in the Viking racing car. He's followed by Tobias Olsen in the Bastovik car, followed by Alexander van der Wood. Sandy Choda, who actually isn't starting the race by the looks of it. Looks like he missed the cut-off as well. He could potentially run out to the pit lane before the race starts. He couldn't do it. Tommy Oyala in the Smile Power car. He was well down the order there for Smile Power. P32, he's got a lot of work to do. Then we have Emil Sandberg, and that rounds out, I believe. And Victor Silva, sorry. Starting P35, P36, and that should wrap up our grid for this evening.
I'm just keeping an eye on Sandy, because he's moving, but he's not at the moment. So you're right about Yaden Wright. He's starting the pit lane. Hopefully he's turned that engine off, because that will be cooking at the moment.
It will be indeed. As everyone is now forming up, we will have the lights on momentarily. I think race real attrition. So who's going to be able to keep themselves nice and clean and potentially score themselves some very significant championship points? And I think as everyone is pretty much in position, we just wait for the lights to come on. 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and we are racing! Good start from Willis and Toyka, pretty even. Coxon's going defensive straight away off the line to try and cover Yunt. Yunt up the inside though for turn 1. Looks clean so far. Oh, look at that. Schroten, nice move up the inside. Oh, a little bit of argy-bargy, but I think everyone's just about got through turn 1 there, nice and cleanly.
Oh, he's going to crash at the back. A couple of rounds, stops around and a couple else. I can't see at the moment.
That's a drama. Toyka leads though. He's got another good start and he's been a factor in earlier races. It's Toyka from Yunt. Very much the assassins at the front of the field here. They're going to try and take themselves some good championship points as they run through sector 1 here for the first time.
Petter's still down at 18th. Oh, there's a spin. Is he going to avoid it? Yep, Salo's gone round, but everyone just Sousa from... What if somebody hits him?
Sousa Ferreira went round there. There was a couple of rear wings going flying there as well. I think a few people caught out as Yunt. Thank you, cameraman extraordinaire. Now takes the lead as we run down this long back straight. Better Burlak, lovely move for P14, almost getting P13 there as well. As we now run down this very long straight, Strawn and Heinemann, they've got better starts than Burlak, so if he wants to be winning this race, he's got to get a move on. Oh my goodness me, 3 wide down into turn 12. Who's going to be the winner here? Oh, I think it's going to be Strawn because he's physically on the inside, but no, Heinemann comes out ahead just about, and in fact Burlak, he's got a good exit as well. Oh, a little touch as we run into 13. Strawn's run all the way around the outside, but can Burlak make a move into 14? We'll have to look. Strawn and Heinemann fighting hard.
Oh, he's going to have to go around them.
It's McKenna, but he's just about got himself moving just in time. Burlak up to P13 there. In fact, everyone there gaining a place. So unfortunate for McKenna there in the Tanskanen car that he's gone backwards in the order a bit.
So Team Toyka's back in the lead. I'm guessing he got him on the long straight.
Strawn! Oh, Strawn's off. He's binned it. Yes, it was indeed. We'll have to keep an eye on that. What on earth happened there? Running around inverse turn 8. Having a fight here with Heinemann. Got Wicks and someone else. Oh, goodness me. Actually, on replay, goodness, taking flight there. Couldn't quite catch who that was. But, oh, goodness, that was a very unusual incident. Unfortunately, that is going to eliminate one of our factors in the race here as Toyka leads. Goodness, that is quite an explosive end almost to Strawn's race 2 there. So, drama for Strawn.
And Peter Peters already up to 11th place, and he's got Heinemann and Fadler just ahead of him. So already he's going to be getting a decent amount of points as Heinemann goes around the outside of Fadler. That's an interesting move as he goes up to 9th.
Lovely stuff, some lovely overtaking, some unique overtaking opportunities too. So all sorts of moves being made in places you perhaps wouldn't normally expect it. But Heinemann, silent little moment there. Fadler's all over the back. Oh! What's going on there? I think that's Duvala.
Oh, Kirk's round it. I think he's hit his teammate. Kirk's hit his teammate.
Awkwardness for the Bastovic boys, and Kirk has retired in fact, so bad to worse this evening for James, which was a real pity. Duivala though, he had a moment there in the other warp racing car with someone else tangling on exit from turn 11 there. That's the second one of those we've seen tonight. We've got Wicks, he's currently fighting Mason for P11 and P12. These two going at it, hammer and tongs, all sorts of scraps going on as Toyka continues to lead. So action up and down the grid as we've got drivers trying to make their way through here to try and seal themselves up a championship.
Oh, there's 3 cars all fighting for each other ahead of Petto at the moment, and he's trying to get in on it as he's trying. Oh no, he's up to 9th, sorry.
Up nicely around the outside of Fadler there, and it's going to be a move into turn 19, and it's a signed, sealed, delivered. All right, I take my hat off. He's got that one done. But a lovely move there from Burlak, another place. He's up inside the top 10, which is exactly where he wants to be, a few more places. And a few laps later is Yunt. Oh! Yunt, lovely move into turn 1. He takes the lead from Toyka. Don't think Toyka is really keeping his eyes on the prize as Yunt slips up the inside there. Plenty of room to do it, so why not? Toyka immediately going on the attack now. He's not too pleased with that as we run through the constant left, right again. Long over off-camber corners. Toyka goes hard inside that somehow. Now a tight little left-hander anti-cut on the inside. Don't want to touch that. That will unstabilise you. And then up into turn 8, uphill. You can't really see the apex here of 9 until you're on it. Round they go, nicely done from both of them as they now run down the hill, down towards 10 and 11.
And we've got 5th, 6th, oh, Schroten's round in 6th place, that's going to be Where's he ended up? Oh, he's down. Damage there. He's down to 10th at the moment. I think
He's
held it
recovering.
together.
He's recovering, but yeah, a real little drama there. Not really enough
Petr
space.
gets another place. Oh, and he's on the back straight. This will be worth watching. He's on the back straight at the moment. 3 other cars around him all slipstream each other, and he's trying to do
He's just driving by them. Goodness, evidently gone for the low downforce setup, and it's working for him. I think he might get 2 places if he can get the braking going, which he does just about. Heidemann fighting tooth and nail there. I think Burlak went a little deep, but he's on the inside now for turn 13. Oh, he's just about there, and he's got Willis as well.
Ben Willis there holding up Sven Schubert, so it kind of blocked him from
read as
overtaking.
up the inside. Petr was really ready for that, but Willis, he's fighting back. He's gone, I don't give a monkeys about a championship. I want me a nice haul of points, thank you very much. As he's up the inside, Petr's going to have to be really careful. It might be actually worthwhile just letting him go and coming back later if he can, but looks like Petr's got the job just about done, and in a little bit of a gap as they run through 19.
Heidemann and Willis had tangled there. It's now Schubert to get on the back of Willis. Is he going to dive down the inside? No, but he's going to get a good line through here. So this is Petr already up to 5th place as we start lap 4. So, you know, he's nearly done it already.
He has. He's doing everything right so far, which is what a championship will, of course, do. As we've had a few retirements. We had Hinz retire, Van der Wood and Salberg, unfortunately. So a few casualties in this, as I called it at the start, a little bit of an attrition race. Petr's next target will be Coxon now. Really have to keep an eye on this championship fight. But Coxon, again, doing a great job for Cosmo, well up into the serious business end of the points here. Is unfortunately another retirement. Sandy Choda has retired.
He never started, I'm afraid.
Well, there you are. Well, that's a retirement of sorts. But Coxon, another great drive there for Cosmo. Toyka, he's not letting Young go, so that's going to be a fight which develops. And we've got Gretsch. He had a good qualifying. Unfortunately, he had a moment at some point in that first race, dropped down 15th, but he's really benefited now, currently in P3. So, a topsy-turvy grid, and country drivers make hay while the sun shines. And as we come out of turn 11 on lap 4 of 14, everyone is pretty nicely spread out across our top 8. And we've got Willis, I think, and Fadler fighting overnight as 10th. Oh, Fadler. Oh, lovely move. He's taken P8 at the moment. Can he get it? The car stopped just about. Plenty of lockup. And almost blocks Willis's line there through 12. But Fadler up into P8. Lovely move there, down into that very slow, tight left-hander.
Peter's slowly catching up on Coxon at the moment. The gap is, last count, just over a second.
Sorry, Willis and Fadler, they're having seconds through 40. I think Willis realised that was a bit much, and he's let him by. Nice and gentlemanly there from Willis. But goodness me, 2 into 1 don't go, and that was nearly, big damage for both of them. So I think the beneficiary there will be Dweevelar. We're going to be able to gain a little bit of time on these two, but that is certainly going to allow the guys ahead of them, which are Schubert, Heinemann, Burlak, Coxon, and the rest to start to bridge a gap to that lot. So beneficial there for our top 7 drivers.
So Petr's up to 5th at the moment, but with Young's being in 1st place, I don't think this allows him to win the championship.
We'll have to figure out how all the points and whatnot tally themselves up. But fundamentally, all Burlak needs to do is score as many points as possible. And yeah, we're in the very early stages of this race. Not even got to the distance, and he's already got himself well up the field. And as you say, he's reeling in Cox. In fact, he's right on the gearbox. You might want to keep an eye on this one as we go down through turn 10 into 11. In a moment, he's right behind Coxon. And he's going to have a nice, I think, move down. Oh, Coxon, a little lock-up. Brakes not playing ball there, and unfortunately that's allowed the door nice and open for Burlak. We know he's got low downforce on that car, so he's just almost going to drive by. Oh, maybe not. Coxon's got a good exit there. Perhaps a little bit wider line getting out earlier. So Burlak, he's going to have to do a bit of work.
Jans and Toyko also fighting each other at the front.
Burlak got the move done though, he's up into P4, and I think he's just about got it all gathered together just about. He can just run it nice and wide, cover turn 13, so that's another place game. Just Toyka takes the lead.
But David Jansen's going to come back and still isn't giving up yet. He's going to get a nice exit out of here and should. Yeah,
and Gretsch, right place, right time, says, thank you very much, teaming for running wide. I'll just take this position from you, thank you. As he's now well and truly in amongst this scorer. He won, and it's good stuff. These three are going to start scrapping, and the beneficiary again is going to be Burlak. Everything is really coming up Burlak right now, so
we could have a Burlak versus Young's fight in a moment.
We could do indeed. It just depends about how well he's able to bridge this 3-second gap that he's got to make up now. He's got plenty of time to do it, so I have to see how it pans out as Gretsch. Oh, he's feeling feisty. He wants to take the lead of the race. Yunt's had it covered just about though. It's going to compromise on those. They run out of turn 1. Toyka, I think he's just going to keep himself to himself through this first sector. Not really an overtaking opportunity. I think he'll try and benefit if either of these two have a moment. So, this is all developing very nicely here up the front.
It is indeed. I've just been rattling some numbers. With those 15 points Petter got in third in the first race, he's currently 138 ahead of Yunt. Now, after this race, there's 150 points available.
He needs 12.
He needs 12, but he needs 12 more than Yunt. With Yunt ahead, that's not going to happen.
That's very true. Very true. So really, what Petter needs to seal this up is for Yunt to have some sort of a drama and drop out the points really. But I don't see that happening. He's driving very well. He's driving defensively at the moment because Gretsch, right up the gearbox and alongside
Wonderful.
now. Yep,
he's got a very low downforce setup. Yunt may try and come back, but Gretsch is having none of it.
Yeah, he's going, right, I'm going to park my car over here, thank you very much. That's my move done, and I think Yunt's just about...
He's spun it around! And there's Petter.
He's going to have to wait for Petter. He's going to have to wait for Petter, and that's going to drop him down. It's not going to drop him down 12 points worth, but that is disastrous. He's down to P6. I can't remember off the top of my head how many points that is, but it's not going to be a 12-point difference. But, that is exactly what he didn't need and what Petter did, so it's still going swimmingly. But inheriting our race lead is Terence Gretsch and TV Toyka's gained a place and all that as well. So, a lock-up of that rear axle. I mentioned it earlier on. You've got to keep an eye on those brakes. You know, if you're running that low downforce setup, you've got to make sure you get your brake pressure and whatnot absolutely spot on. Of course, so just a little too hard on the brake pedal there.
6th gives you 8 points, 3rd gives you 15th, which means there's a difference of 7 points between the two at the moment. So not enough. Not enough though.
Not enough at the moment, so we'll have to see how the race develops. I'm sure he'll be able to fight back though, but he's got a group of pretty fast cars in the periphery though. Duivelar. Duivelar! Oh, goodness me. That was a fight for P8 and P9. I think that was very late on the brakes from Duivelar there, and he didn't quite get that one done. Thankfully, no real drama, just a little bit of a run-off into the extra bit of tarmac that we got on the exit, on the outside of the corner there, but there's a gravel trap there. That would have been, thank you, you've had your chip, sir. So, Duivelar, he's got away with that one, but very late move, didn't quite pan out.
Oh, blimey, I'm watching 12th to 15th at the moment, as it's Ben Willis 12th, and then we've got Hackerson Silver. Ben Willis 12th, Wicks 13th, Hackerson 14th, Wicks Silver 5th, shop on Sector 1. Different cars on different lines, off track, on track, bumping, not bumping. As they come towards turn 11, Hackerson's looking at taking Wicks, Silver. Oh, there's been contact! Oh, that's going to hit! Oh, no, that's just about taking out Mebius, who's lost a few positions on that as well.
Yeah, a little bit of restraint there. I couldn't quite see who really lost out there. I think that might have been... was it McKenna? I don't think so. It was a light blue car. He had to park up and wait for everyone to cycle by, like the worst feeling in the world there.
So Wicks moves in the braking zone. Hackerson taps him, which then he doesn't brake. It just about misses Willis, but sadly takes a massive whack on the side of Mebius. He lost a couple of places from that.
Oh dear. Drama. Drama at the front as well. The gap is being reeled in. It's now 2 seconds between Petter and Toyka. Gretsch, though, in free air, is building a gap between himself and Toyka, up to half a second. So, Gretsch... Oh, right, okay. So, cameraman extraordinaire informs us that there's been a V8 in the background, so hopefully you've enjoyed the sound of V8 in our voices as we've had 2 superb races so far. We're on lap 8 of 14 drives completing half distance this time around. So apologies for that, but anyway, Burlak now, he's still on the march. He's got the gap actually, it's gone up a bit in fact, as all that's gone on. So not ideal, the gap up to 2 seconds. So anyway, drama in the broadcast, drama on track, and there's still plenty of fighting. I'm just keeping an eye on what's going on down at the back of the points order. We've got Willis, we've got Mebius, all fighting over P12, 13, 14, going through the sector 1. Oh, Willis, he's had to escape a bit there. There was a bit of tarmac he could run onto there. I don't think he was going to make the corner, but Sarlo right in pursuit.
And Willis.
Yeah, I'll let you take over, Phil.
Yeah, they're really rasmus Sarlo's going to try and take one place. He's going to try and take 2, and he gets both of them. So that's 2 places, 1 corner. Willis, that was very off track. Now he's lost positions, and McKenna's now going to try and get involved. We go down towards the hairpin. Is he going to dive down the inside? It's going to be a long way back. No, a bit silly. He's going to let Willis defend and then get a lovely exit, and he'll easily take him on the straight. So no messing about there at all. Importantly, it's worth reminding people, Petter's up to 2nd.
He is indeed. I think Timu had a moment there because he's dropped a load of time. So there we are.
So what we got at the moment, so that's Petter's 2nd getting 18 points, and Yunt in 6th, getting 8. So that's a 10-point difference. That's nearly. There's still 2 points will be in it, so not quite wrapped up. But if he can make those 3 seconds and get past Terence, if Yunt doesn't make any more places, that will be it.
Yes, indeed. So it is all to play for, very much so. But Petter's got 3 seconds now to make up. And Terence Gretsch in free air, he's just been having a lovely race too. He's making all the time up, and the gap is extended again to 3.6. So it's just not enough right now. 2/10 last time around. So Petter's got to have to pull some pace out of somewhere, and somehow, well, reel this time back in. Alternatively, you could, of course, hope that Yunt has a moment, but he's right on the back, actually, of a nicely developing fight here between Heinemann, Toyka, Coxon, and himself, so he could potentially be moving forward in the near future as well. So we'll have to wait and see.
What else we got going on? We've got fights 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Heinemann and Toyka and Coxon trying to get involved, and then what other fights we got going on?
Got a nice scrap for 9th by the looks of it at the moment.
Yep, and also for the final points position, Ben Willis trying to come back at Paul McKenna, and he's done it.
Good stuff. Lots of fighting up and down the grid. All important points at this point in the season, just to help bolster your championship result. But anyway.
Oh, Paul McKenna and who's that there? Oh, Wicks is trying to get involved, and Hackerson's getting involved. There's a lot of touchy-feely going on through Sector 1 and Sector 2. Let's see what's happening towards the hairpin at the moment. Oh, Wicks has hit the back of McKenna, which allowed Hackerson to get 1 place. I wonder if there's damage on either of those cars. That was a fairly heavy whack again.
Yeah, indeed. Of course, you know, the big issue is if you lose your front wing, you're going to be hemorrhaging time in that first sector, but you could be gaining a whole chunk in the second. In fact, there is a regulation. If you lose a wing, you're going to have to get that replaced. But no, a big hit like that, you knock a bit of your suspension, a bit of your toe, a bit of your camber, whatever else you can cause, a little bit of uncertainty. And it's all it takes is a little bit of uncertainty. You don't trust the car, and all of a sudden you're going much slower every single lap, and you almost be a danger to yourself. So drama there, contact never good in these Formula cars. You make a mistake as, oh, that's Wicks. Oh, he nearly made that move work there on Hackerson through turn 13 there. But yeah, contact can be a real drama.
We've got Yunt in 6th, going for Coxon in 5th. Oh, these are key positions. It's kind of how long we extend the fight between Petter and Yunt. He's got the 3 guys just in front of him, so he could still make some places up for the end of this race. Nice. Coxon's got that one covered nicely as we go into Sector 1.
As we saw in the first race, everyone's plateauing and doing vaguely similar lap times. What I will say, though, is Terence Gretsch, goodness me, he's absolutely putting his foot down. The last time around was almost a second quicker than Petter. So, goodness me, that Katana Motorsports car is working like a dream. But, Yunt, round the outside of Coxon, in through 8, into 9. Lovely move. That's up into P5.
But Coxon's come back at that.
Yep, through 10, down to 11. I think Yunt's going to be having a look here into 11, potentially on the straight. I'd wait for the straight, personally, but here we go. Ooh, a little bit late on the brakes, but you can get on the power perhaps a little earlier. But that's certainly going to cost him a little bit of time there, though.
Wonderful thing for Yunt is that he's got nobody behind him to worry about. He's got a massive 6-second gap to Sven Schubert in 7th, who's having to fight Duvillard. So that's he can either kind of take 6th, but obviously it won't extend the championship very much, or really go for it, and you know, he could get on the podium still. It's also worth pointing out Petter's made a few tenths off Terence there for the first time.
In fact, he set the best middle sector of anyone in the race this time around so far. So
I'll be worried about Terence and his tyres if he's pushing too hard now. So currently on lap 10 of 14, so still 3 laps to go.
It could be a case of tyre wear and consumption. Petter might have just been thinking, okay, you know, let's take it easy and get consistent laps, and well, you never know, Terence might have gone right. Alpha lever, let's use up all of the rubber and try and build as big of a gap as we can. But we'll have to see what the gap is when they cross the start-finish line.
No, he's gained another half a second of that final sector. That's where Terence is making his time up.
Yes, yes, he is indeed. Precisely right. The time has just come through here on live races. Although across the whole lap, he's only gained, well, less than 1,000 actually, as it pans out. But yeah, big loss there in that last sector there for Burlak. And of course, we know he's running low wing. And what is that sector all about? Oh, downforce. You want to make sure you've got as much grip as possible to carry all that speed through that inverse turn 8, as we've been calling it tonight. So it's working for Gretsch. He's got that balance. Nicely done. And I think Petter, he had to gamble a bit to gain all his time in that middle sector, and it's not working out this time round.
We've got Ben Willis and Mark Wicks fighting each other for the last points position. Again, yet again, they're really kind of hammer and tong towards each other. Willis ahead at the moment as we go through sector 1, the left, right, kind of constant.
Sorry to talk over you there, but a moment there from Coxon. The fight between Yunt and Coxon, by the way, has not abated. They've been scrapping all lap, and in fact, actually Coxon, with a superior exit from running wide through 11. So I'm just a little late on the brakes. He's locked up his inside left, and he's gone skating wide, but goodness me, such a good exit from there. He's been able to pull ahead of Yunt without slipstream. So
I don't think it's so much exit. I think he's got very good gearing in that car.
Good gearing, perhaps
away
a low wing compared to Yunt, perhaps. Yep, it's all part of it. But Yunt, he's got his car alongside here as we go through 14, 15. But looks
try
like
and dive underneath.
Oh, he is, but he's not got enough momentum through the apex to make any real impression. So Coxon, great defensive drive so far. He's still holding on to that 5th place with Cosmo.
So we're just going to look at the gap at the top again. Last time around it was 4.212. As Petter comes around the finish line, he's struggling there to put the grip down this time. It's got up to 4.7. So Terence is, quite lap 12 or 14. He's really doing the job.
Track is 43 degrees, so similar to as it was last time around. And well, I noticed and mentioned it last time around. I think it's these hot track conditions. It's really equalised the field, so no massive time gains. As Yunt, nice move into turn 1. Can he get it done? Yes, he can. He's now taken P5, although Coxon's coming back at him now through this first sector. So Coxon evidently he's either got better gearing or a little less wing, so we'll have to see if he can keep with them through this very technical sector.
We've lost Ben Hackerson of Viking Racing, sadly, in this race. He's had suspension issues, I'm afraid, so he's out. So our final driver racing around at the moment is Mike Schroten in 22nd. We've had quite a high number of accidents in this race. Yeah,
quite the attrition rate. I did wonder with cars being shaken up and obviously the reverse grid number being drawn, being 20 the highest it can be. So it's worked for some, not for others, unfortunately, as Coxon locks up again down into turn 11. So clearly a little bit of tyre wear or a little fatigue as we go around turn 11 here on lap 12 of 14.
I reckon Coxon's going to get Yunt back because, look at this final gear. Look at it. It just absolutely goes, and he's going to pull away easily and get 5th place back from Yunt.
Yunt is not giving up, though. It must be that Yunt is running just a little bit more wing. And it's obviously it's holding him back on that long all straight. As we mentioned earlier, it's all going to be about balance and setup. As he's left his inside of his car on the inside there, kind of almost a centre-esque move. Well, if you turn in, you're going to hit me. Thankfully, Richard saw that and gave him just about enough space, so they're still running round. But at this point, I think Yunt really should perhaps be considering, if you can get Richard, great, but you're in a championship fight here, man. If you throw it away now, Petter has got this one in the bag, so it's very much Yunt's to lose at the minute, and I don't think Petter's going to make any serious inroads at all on Terence. So Terence, a great drive so far for Katana Motorsports.
See how he exits. Yeah, it's a good exit on the final corner. I think he's tapped the back of him there, and now he's just going to lose that rear wing. Even the slipstream isn't helping him as Coxon's slightly pulling away.
Just fascinating. Again, part of the wonderful nature of the career ladder racing here is you can have all sorts of setups and you can get really wonderful mixed racing, as we have seen here this evening. But as we are on lap 13 of 14, Gretsch continues to lead 4.2 the gap to Petter. It's been fluctuating sector by sector, so it's very much a case of these two doing identical, almost identical lap times. In fact, actually interesting, last time round Petter was 3/10 quicker overall. So perhaps the tyres are starting to go, but I think it's a little too late at this point, unless there is a big let go from Terence's car. But the way he's been driving, I can't see that happening, so it's very much all to go for.
Yunt's still looking at Coxon. He's not really making anything here, but again, it's going to be a good exit on turn 11 hairpin, but Coxon's just got lower downforce and just not pulls away in the straight there.
No, it's that wonderful sort of balance between setup and going for downforce, going for or not going for downforce. Moreover, and if you can make the car work just in pure grip terms, and not need the aero to give you grip, it's always worthwhile to run that little bit less downforce. You can be quicker on the straights, and as we've seen, it can give you some serious advantages. Anyway. Let's mention a few other drivers who've had a little bit of a quieter race as things have progressed. Tim Heinemann, he's had a good second race here. He's currently running in P3. He's 4 and a bit seconds behind Burlak, so unless Burlak has a moment, I don't think he can do too much about that. Timu Soika, he's running very strongly in P4, and then we have this fight developing between Coxon and Yunt for P5 and 6. Lewis McGlade in the second Aurora car. Again, very strong performance here for Aurora Motorsport. He's currently running P7. Petter Duivela in the second walk car after some moments early on. He's running P8. Sven Sherbert in the Zedric car is currently running P9. Victor Silva rounds out on top 10. But anyway, Terence Gretsch, our race leader, with a 5-second gap now, back to Petter Burlak. He's started his final lap of the race, running through Sector 1. And goodness me, what a well-driven drive. He's made the car work at the right time, and he's been able to pull out all of the gaps and all the distances. And he doesn't have much further to go now to seal a very, very well-deserved win.
And we got Yunt finally up to 5th, going to dive it down the inside in turn 1 and kind of park his car on the apex and stop Coxon from taking
we saw this though just a few laps ago, and Coxon just immediately passed him on this long back straight. So if you can do it again and cover him, it might still swing the other way.
Bit of a gap, but yeah, if he gets a good exit from this corner, let's see how they do. So into the braking zone, he right up onto the back of Yunt, and he's going to get a slight. Oh, he's gone wide though, but Yunt's not letting him have much of a slipstream, but he's got it now, and I think the lack of downforce on Coxon's car, is it going to give it? Yes, look at that.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
Rolling it in.
Visible. Incredibly visible. But I'll tell you what else is visible. The margin tonight between Terence Gretsch and Petter Burlak, as Gretsch is now rounding turn 15.
Yunt's going back. Yunt to get him in the braking zone. So now with no more long straights, he still could do it, but we should probably follow Terence.
He still could, but yes, we should now follow Terence because he's driven a perfect race. He had the car absolutely set up to a T. He rounds turn 19 for the final time, comes into turn 20. One final stop, down the gears, onto the apex, power down, to cross the start-finish line to win Race 2 this evening at the Circuit of the Americas. A superb win there for Terence and Katana Motorsports, and he is followed home 5.5 seconds behind by Petter Burlak. Unfortunately, it's not enough, if I've got the numbers right in my head, to seal the championship, so it rolls on to next round at Abu Dhabi. All to play for still in the Drivers' and Constructors' Championship. But following Petter home in P2 is Tim Heinemann. Great showing for Aurora Motorsports, finishing P3. We have Timu Toika finishing for Velocity P4. David Yunt, he gets that 5th place after a great fight there. With 6th place finishing Richard Cox, and good drive from those two. Lewis McLeod comes home P7. Peter Duvlar.
Wilson's tapped Ben Willis at the end there, kind of going for 15th. Sorry about that.
That might be one to watch, but we'll get there in a moment. Peter Duvlar finishes in P8. Followed by Sven Schubert. Good point score there. Thomas Fadler comes home in P11, I believe, again. So more points for him there in the Proline car. Rasmus Salo, after a good scrap, he's finished P12 for Smile Power. And Ben Warren, Mark Wicks, and Ben Willis round out our top 15, or perhaps top 15, perhaps in controversial fashion. But anyway, that rounds out our points finishes. And goodness me, from what seemed to be almost a done deal to not in a very short amount of time. The championship is now very much on a knife edge, and it's going to be absolutely fascinating now as we run into Abu Dhabi and literally the dying light of this championship.
Yeah, from my calculations, I may get called out wrong. I believe Petter is 146 points ahead,
Ooh,
but with
4 points short.
150 on the table. So an 8th place will do it, but for Yunt, he kind of has to hope that he doesn't get anything above 8 in the final 6 races, which I can't really see happening. And yeah, I think it's going to be called on the first race at Abu Dhabi. It all depends on Peter's qualifying next race.
Does indeed. 4 points the margin then as we run into Abu Dhabi. And well, that's if he finishes in first and Yunt second. Well, that's that done and dusted. So it's just going to be a case of score some more points for Petter, and I think that'll pretty much be the championship signed up for him. So it isn't done. It isn't closed off tonight, but there you are. That is motor racing for you. Isn't it wonderfully unpredictable? I think, as has been said many times, the only thing you can predict is something will happen. But there you go. But anyway, it's still up for grabs. We just had a confirmation actually from our race director. It is a 4-point margin as we now run into Abu Dhabi. So yes, our maths were correct. Woohoo! as hopefully we'll have some drivers joining us very shortly for interviews. But what an interesting race there. I was expecting attrition, but I didn't expect the result to go quite that way.
Yeah, I mean, like, so we had, just kind of counting how many people did not finish. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 drivers did not finish that race out of 34. Should probably honorably mention Mr. Sandeep Chodra. You may have realised did not start race 2. That was due to his sister finding a spider in the house.
Oh, well.
So he was the honourable knight in shining armour, saved
Well,
his sister, and sadly couldn't start the race.
Hat doff of the day to Sandeep there. Very good. Very honourable. There you are. But, well, you want to know something? As races go, that's a pretty interesting explanation for missing a start. But there you go. So fair play to Sandeep there. Unfortunately, missed race 2 there. But But no, fascinating again. The track temperature. I mean, I recall driving in Malaysia, similar track temperature, and it really does. It really makes the car do unusual things, and it really shook the grid up for us there. So we'll hopefully have some drivers join us to talk about their experiences this evening. I'll have to see if anyone's feeling brave enough to jump in and talk to us both. But we'll give them another few moments. But goodness, what a good night of racing.
Yeah, it wasn't any weather to spice it up this time, but we didn't really need it. I think we had some very elbow-type racing going on further down the field, but it was still fun to watch. Luckily, Sector 1 gave people a lot of tarmac painted runoff, which was made full use of this evening.
I think so, and hopefully not to push their luck either. But that is the kind of beauty almost of these more modern racetracks. You can get away with really pushing the limit. In fact, actually, we heard that. Obviously, we've just had Monza in real life Formula One. A few drivers saying, "Yeah, we can push a bit more through Parabolica because we know we're a bit more safe." I still want gravel trap to be there. Anyway, I'll put my pitchfork away for now, as I think unfortunately we're not going to be joined by anyone unless they jump in right now. But no, goodness, that has set things up very tantalizingly well for our next round in Abu Dhabi in 2 weeks' time. Yes, we may as well mention, same time, we have 2 more races in Abu Dhabi to kick off our week of career ladder racing. But you don't have to wait another 2 weeks for more career ladder racing. No, you don't. We've got racing from the Circuit of the Americas all of this week. We'll have Super Cup tomorrow, 2 races there in our sort of Junior Formula 2 Super League, which will be running on Thursday, which is our top tier of Formula racing. And you'll be able to join us for broadcast, same place, same time, for all of that. So plenty to keep an eye on. And of course, we've got all sorts of racing here at GPVWC. Tin Tops, Formula racing, as you've seen. We've got the Master Series, which is a little bit of everything. And if you want to join in and find out more, head over to gpvwc.com and sign up to take part in what is a very, very fun and enjoyable pastime. But anyway, since everyone's being shy, not joining us, Phil, final thoughts tonight.
Final thoughts. Another entertaining race series. Again, we have forgot to mention during our stream the Open Series results.
Oh goodness, yes.
So I'm going to quickly fill it in here. We had James Ross starting from pole and winning Open Series, with Victor Silva making a place, having started third, finishing second, and Adam Wright starting second, finishing third. So not much of a swap. And fourth, fifth, and sixth, Chris Williamson, Martin Bilgen, and Martin Rietberg all finishing where they started, I believe. So another good Open Series evening.
Oh, good stuff to them. Feeder for Formula Challenge, of course, and if you want to get into this potentially next year or this year, feel free to throw your hat into the Open Series ring. Anyway, one final person I'd like to get their thoughts of tonight before we disappear is the wonderful Mr. Cameraman Extraordinaire, Cameron Brewster. Cam, what did you make of tonight's racing?
A bit manic once again.
Yeah.
I tried my best to keep up with it. 2 races in one evening is a little bit more hectic doing cameras than the old Super League, but no, it was good to watch, and I don't understand how Peter does it, but that driving race won.
He does it, and he does it incredibly well. So there you are. And with that, I think it's time that we should wrap things up for tonight. So thank you very much for joining us for what has been 2 very eventful races, and 2 races which have not sealed the championship. It's all to play for in Abu Dhabi. So join us in 2 weeks' time to find out which way the championship swings. I've been Matthew Churgwin. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. We'll see you next time out on the racetrack.